Hello everyone, I'm Dustin Dry. It's July 26, 2023. It's This Week in Comics. It's Dustin Dry with the Two Birds Stoned at Two Birds Stoned 815. We've got a bunch of issues to get to this week, a couple of number ones, a bunch of ongoing. We've got two series to review. We're only going to skip one issue. I'm going to touch on the Superman TV show. Let's go.
X-Men, the Hellfire Gala 2023 by too many writers and too many artists.
Now, you guys might be aware, but I'm not reading X-Men right now, and after this issue, I'm still not reading X-Men. However, that is not to say that this isn't a great issue. In fact, it's my highest scored issue of the week. Kamala Khan's a mutant, and she's resurrected like 5 weeks after she died. Tensions between humans and mutants has been escalating once again. The mutants want to use Kamala Khan as a liaison to smooth the tensions over between the two sides. However, Dr. Stasis and Moira reveal that they've put a backdoor into the Krakoan drugs that the humans have been taking, meaning that they can access the backdoor and kill any human on the drugs. Moira and Dr. Stasis threaten to kill all of the humans unless Charles orders mutants back off of the planet through the Krakoan gate and back to Mars. Charles adheres, and all the mutants go off planet through the gates, except for a handful of those that have resisted the call that Charles made and regrouped in the Hellfire Club in New York City. Rogue flies to Krakoa and saves Charles Xavier. However, he makes her leave him there, and he tells her that he does not sense the life force of any mutant that he ordered through the gates. All of the mutants are dead. Wow. Astounding art, immeasurable consequences. I'm not caught up on this series, but holy crap. As you can see, I got the X-Men 97 variant cover. I loved this issue so much. Following it to its conclusion with the Fall of X is going to be a little too much for me, so for those of you that are going to continue to read it, congratulations, but that's way too many books. Hellfire Gala 2023 is a 9 out of 10.
What If Dark Spider-Gwen by Jody Houser, Ramon F. Box, Dee Cunniffe, and Gary Conway.
This is a different origin for a different Spider-Gwen, where on the day that she's supposed to die, Peter Parker dies instead. Gwen goes to Harry Osborn for help, and they decide to take down the Goblin. However, that brings about another tragic end in the beginning or origins of another hero and another villain. This is a fantastic remix on a classic tale, especially the art, especially the story. What If Dark Spider-Gwen is an 8.5.
Night Terrors Titans by Andrew Constant, Scott Godlewski, and Ryan Cody.
I am going to check in on Night Terrors number 2 once we get to it, but I'm checking in with the number 1s first. In this issue, the Titans reunite in the dream world with the help of Raven, because all of the Titans are stuck in the nightmare of Titan's Tower. This issue has solid art and a solid enough plot. It's a 7 out of 10.
Night Terrors Harley Quinn number 1 by Teenie Howard, Hayden Sherman, and Triona Farrow, with a backup story by Leah Williams and Ben Templesmith.
Harley experiences her own nightmare, which takes a minute to get to, much to the detriment of this issue. Her nightmare being that she has joined the Justice League in a bunch of different multiverses is actually hilarious. The trippy backup story with the equally trippy art actually aid this issue quite a bit. Overall, 7 out of 10.
Superman, The Last Days of Lex Luthor number 1 by Mark Waid, Brian Hitch, Kevin Coolin, and David Barron.
There are some real comic heavy hitters involved with this comic. In it, Lex Luthor has an incurable disease and goes to Superman as the only man who can help him. Superman agrees to help him, but Lex Luthor broadcasts his agreement to the world, horrifying most of society. Expelled from Kandor in the Phantom Zone and with mysteries in the past, this issue actually packs quite a lot into it, coupled with insanely amazing art. It's a good enough story with a character that's not my favorite, with the art doing most of the heavy lifting. Superman, The Last Days of Lex Luthor number 1 is a 7.5 out of 10.
Night Terrors number 2.
Dodds tells Deadman that an ancient cult 80 years ago tried to make the Nightmare Stone real, but Dodds prevented it. The two go to investigate Arkham Tower with Red Tornado, and Deadman enters Insomnia's dreams once again. Deadman sees the time before Insomnia is affected by the Lazarus Pits, but as the is happening, Insomnia sends his sleepless nights, including Red Tornado, who's been helping them the whole time. Once again, this series has fantastic art, but it slows down, which is not a good thing for a series that's only 4 issues, possibly 5 if you want to count First Blood as one of the main issues. Night Terrors number 2 is a 6.5 out of 10.
Ultimate Invasion number 2.
A brutal and bloody issue sees an injured Maker misremembering things, so he kidnaps Howard Stark to help him rebuild the Ultimate Universe correctly. This series has great art and a very intriguing story. I think if I knew anything about the Ultimate Universe, it would be even better, but for right now, Ultimate Invasion 2 is a 7 out of 10.
The Incredible Hulk number 2.
Charlie and Banner travel together, and Charlie reveals that she's not there for Banner, she's there for Hulk. However, they're captured by a local sheriff and brought before Sister Sadie and Brother Deep's crew. Brother Deep's crew manages to kill Bruce Banner, but the Hulk emerges. This series has incredible art and a decent story. Incredible Hulk number 2 is a 7 out of 10.
Spider-Man India number 2.
This is another fantastic issue that moves Pav into his own Spider-Man No More story. I still say the art could serve this series a little bit better, but I'm loving the Indian remix of Spider-Man. Spider-Man India number 2 is an 8 out of 10.
Silk number 3.
Silk knows she's in a dream world, and she's struggling to exit until her brother Albert enters the dream with the help of Wong. Silk defeats the sleep demon with a totem that her brother provides. However, Saya absorbs the power of the demon in the real world right as Silk wakes up. This series has been a fun adventure with great art so far. 7.5 out of 10.
Avengers number 3.
This series has more amazing art as the tribulation events begin. While there is necessary exposition on the new enemies, this issue does take a second to get going. Did Black Panther and Sam Wilson just walk into a trap in the Impossible City? The amazing art and the good story continue. Avengers number 3 is a 7.5 out of 10.
World Tree number 4.
Gabriel and the gang pull Falsta out of the undernet while the gang of old friends continues to reestablish their connections. We finally learn who the naked undernet lady is, and she has a personal connection to Gabriel. This series has amazing art and creepiness. In my opinion, it's James Tynion's version of the book It, which if you're going to rip off an idea, at least do it well. World Tree number 4 is an 8.5 out of 10.
007 number 4.
There's a bit too much exposition in this issue, although some of it is definitely necessary. Our boy 007 does not know who to trust, and Myrmidon and 009 are both closing in on him. A quick side note, never judge a 007 by its cover. You should always look at the interior art, whether you think the cover is good or bad, because the art on the inside is definitely different. 007 number 4 was an enjoyable 7.5 out of 10.
Batman, the Brave and the Bold number 3, and once again, I went with the Superman cover.
First story is titled Mr. Baseball, and it details the origin of an all-new rogue called Mr. Baseball. It's a standard story with good logic and an art style all its own. 7 out of 10. Stormwatch, Down with the Kings, Part 3. Finally, the story kicks into gear as we realize everybody on Stormwatch isn't there on their own volition, and all of the items that they've been collecting are in order to go to war with the Justice League. Stormwatch, Down with the Kings, Part 3 is an 8 out of 10. Superman and the Order of the Black Lamp, Part 3. Superman and Hop battle to escape their captors, but a failsafe wipes away Clark's memory. Is this the end, or will Clark get his memory back in time in order to rescue Hop? I am still not a fan of this art style, and I think the story drags at times. Superman and the Order of the Black Lamp Part 3 is a 6 out of 10. The last black and white story is All Things Considered. This is another astounding black and white portion of The Brave and the Bold. In it, Kirk Langstrom rules over Gotham, and Bruce Wayne, who watched the blood drain from his parents' body, now battles to save the city. He ends up winning, but what spawns out of that darkness is a brand new version of Batman's Rogues Gallery. This is a super cool version of Gotham that teases an even cooler version after Langstrom's gone. All things considered, it's an 8.5 out of 10.
Last but not least, we have Hallows' Eve number 5. Last but not least, because Hallows' Eve is over. Hallows' Eve by Erica Schultz, Brian Reber, and Michael Dowling.
Jean Gaultier is given a bag full of masks, each with its own set of abilities. In this series, she turns into a werewolf, and during that time, accidentally turns security guard Simon Carter into a werewolf with the werewolf mask. Maxine Danger and the Beyond Corporation capture Simon in order to study him. However, Janine breaks in and manages to get Simon out and reverse the lycanthropy using the mask. However, Maxine Danger does not give up that easily. During Janine, Simon, and her ally Marcus's escape from the Beyond Corporation, her masks get scattered. However, Janine does manage to defeat all the security guards that put masks on. It comes down to Janine versus Maxine while Marcus and Simon infiltrate the Beyond Corporation. They help disable Beyond's weapons, and Janine defeats Maxine, resulting in Maxine's arrest. Turns out Simon gave Janine a little bit of faith in humanity that she was lacking. At the conclusion, Janine goes to the Limbo Embassy to visit her lover, Ben Riley, where she reveals she has a plan to get him out. This was a super well done and fun limited series involving a Halloween-themed spider heroine. I truly enjoyed this character. I'm looking forward to the Amazing Spider-Man annual and the Halloween special one-shot. Hallows Eve, the miniseries, gets an 8 out of 10.
And last, but certainly not least, wait, didn't we already do this bit? Is Hellcat number 5. And it's last, but certainly not least, because the Hellcat miniseries is over. Hellcat by Christopher Cantwell, Alex Lins, and KJ Diaz.
Patsy's boyfriend, Spalding Grantham, was brutally murdered. So Patsy, having her powers slightly diminished and clouded right before his murder, decides to team up with Sleepwalker in order to solve the mystery. Spalding was working with Patsy's ex, Damon Hellstrom, who was stuck in the form of a plush fuzzy bunny. Now, originally, Spalding was working with Blackheart in order to make a door, but he changes it to make a true form door for Damon Hellstrom. Patsy finally recovers some of her memories and remembers a brutal battle with said demon, Blackheart. However, Damon shows up having gone through the true form door, all-powerful, looking hellish, and decides to defeat Blackheart. He abducts Patsy and thrusts her through the true form door where she emerges as the demonic Hellcat. Patsy's demonic version gives in to her worst instincts and she works with Damon in order to defeat Sleepwalker. They manage to destroy his Imaginator, however, that wakes up his human proxy, Rick. The destruction of the Imaginator shows Rick that Spalding actually went insane when seeing Patsy's true form, similar to what she did when she saw Damon's true form. Patsy ends up saving Rick and going back through the true form door in order to be made back human. Afterwards, Tony Stark, She-Hulk, and Rick decide to watch over Patsy. Good? Bad? For Patsy, it's hard to say. I thought the art in this series was actually spectacular and the story was enjoyable whether you know the character and all of her history or you're brand new. They do a really good job of explaining. The Hellcat Limited series is an 8 out of 10. The last issue of the week is Deadpool number 9, which I'm still missing an issue of, so there won't be a review for this. I'm going to try to have the missing issues by issue 12 so that I can get caught up and provide an actual review for you guys. Alrighty guys, that's it for our new number ones and our ongoing series. Let's check in with what's next week. Amazing Spider-Man Annual number 1. We are going to continue the Contest of Champions. I'm going to check it out. Death of the Venomverse number 1. All of the Extreme Venomverse has been building to this. Scarlet Witch number 7. Last issue Magneto showed back up. What does that mean? What If Dark Venom number 1. City Boy number 3. Superman showed up last issue, so I can't wait to check in. Justice Society number 5. This continues the new Golden Age storyline, but it's been a minute since we've checked in with this series. Our 2 Night Terrors books next week will be the highly enjoyable Poison Ivy number 2 and the Joker number 2. Peacemaker Tries Hard number 4 coming out of DC. This is the funniest comic I'm reading right now. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, The Last Ronin, The Lost Years number 5. I'm super excited. I said last week I wanted to see more of the new Turtles, and they announced at Comic-Con this week that the new Turtles are coming in The Last Ronin Revolution in December. Next, we have Black Cloak number 6 by Kelly Thompson, one of my favorite writers. This will actually be the first time that I'm going to review this series on this YouTube series. Love Everlasting number 10. I did manage to get issue number 9, so I will be caught up and I will be offering a very honest review of my least favorite Tom King series. Alrighty guys, that's it for this week and wrapping up what's ahead for next week. I did briefly want to touch in on My Adventures with Superman episode number 4. It's another hilarious, enjoyable romp through a slightly anime version of the Superman franchise. Lois and Clark have a great chemistry, which is weird to say about an animated duo. Jimmy is super hilarious as the conspiracy theory best friend. We get the origin of Parasite. We get Lois at the very end figuring out that Clark Kent is Superman. My Adventures with Superman episode 4 is an 8 out of 10. That will do it for July 26, 2023. We'll check back in next week, August 2nd. I'm Dustin Dry at 2birdstoned815 on the TikTok, at 2birdstoned815 on YouTube. I'm going to keep bumbling through the comics and offering my takes. Please like, comment, subscribe. Let me know some of the issues you guys are reading. Let me know some more issues that I should be reading. At 2birdstoned815 on the socials. Let it start here. Fade to black. Hit the music.